Today I fucked up by trolling my roommate and her friends and getting Baker acted. So I have an autoimmune issue that I've found has gotten better by dietary changes and intermittent fasting. I kind of accidentally figured out foods were causing my flare-ups. I have been on a somewhat restricted diet, but it's mainly just avoiding dairy, raw fruits and vegetables. I came across some videos by researchers saying fasting can be very good for autoimmune issues, and I was way less hungry on keto, so I figured I'd give it a shot. I planned to fast for a week if I could, taking in electrolytes and caffeine pills. I decided to troll my roommate and say I was now vegan and getting all my energy from the sun. She knew I was joking. Until she didn't. We both work from home. She realized I wasn't eating by the lack of dishes etc. 2 days go by and she gets concerned and calls a helpline, and they tell her I might be psychotic and that she needs to call the police. They show up and it goes downhill rapidly. If people think you're crazy, you are until otherwise proven. They ask me what's going on and I explain I am just messing with my roommate, but that I am actually fasting because it can help with my medical issues. They ask me what medical issues I have, and I tell them an autoimmune issue doctors are still trying to diagnose. They ask if I have a mental health history and like the moron I am state I used to before the autoimmune issue was discovered, but have been in remission. They say, I thought you said they don't know what's wrong with you, and it continues to go downhill. I try explaining they know it's an autoimmune issue and that psych issues were ruled out by countless psychiatrists. They take this evidence that I've been to countless psychiatrists and ask me what I think about getting checked out. I offer to eat something in front of them and show them research that I'm trying out, but they just assume I'm going to bring up a Facebook group or something. They take me to the local psych hospital and I explain what happened, and after 2 days of eating normally and showing no symptoms I was released. Too long did not read. I decided to try fasting for medical issues and have a bit of fun telling my roommate I'm getting my energy from the sun. She calls a helpline, they make her call the police, and I shove my foot in my mouth and offer too much information and am taken to a psych hospital. Edit for the people chiming in with unsolicited medical opinions. I have an extremely long medical history. I've been sick most my life, and have probably been to more than 100 doctors in my life of virtually every branch of medicine. I didn't get better until I changed my diet. I've researched this more than you think I have talked to medical professionals in real life, and I don't want or need your suppositions based on your feelings. Edit 2. If you don't know the basics of keto, please save your breath. If you don't know that police officers can initiate Baker Acts, save your breath. If you don't have research to post and want to tell me how dangerous this is, save your breath. I promise I've been to more board-certified MDs than anyone in this thread, and your advice is likely predicated on assumptions that have already been brought up. I brought up fasting with my doctor and was monitored by him. And just because influencers say fasting is the cure to every known ailment doesn't mean it doesn't have any benefit. Anybody telling me I need therapy or are mentally ill will be blocked. I've been to real mental health providers and don't need you or your opinion. You're not helping, no matter how much you think you are. Well, that escalated quickly. Sorry that happened to you. The fuck is Baker acted? Honestly, that sucks, but your roommate was smart. Don't take that for granted because it is tricky to catch it early. Edit. Forgot to say I hope you're doing alright otherwise. That is crazy. Intermittent fasting is where you only eat between certain hours in a day. Not eating for a week is not intermittent fasting, it is self-harm. Your roommate was right to be concerned. And this is why things like this shouldn't be assigned to police, who have zero training in anything but inflicting physical harm. Today I fucked up by not turning off a hose. Today, I, 36M, have been betrayed. This afternoon started innocently enough. I was letting my tiny humans frolic about in back the yard. Girls, of the tender and innocent ages of 7 and 3. They were doing what children do at those ages. The eldest was catching bugs and spiders, worms and roly-polies. The youngest had figured out the hose, how to turn on the spigot and how to use the spray nozzle. She was using this information to make frequent, though enthusiastic, trips from it to various plants, watering them with a play-size measuring cup. Or they were both working to create questionable culinary delights within play pots and pans, the ingredients of which seemed mostly dirt, leaves and sticks. I was occupied with assembling a new bike for the 7-year-old. A task that, despite her beliefs to the contrary, she was not intermittently helping with. Quite the opposite, in fact. Eventually the bike was assembled, and attempts to ride it were added into mix of the child's antics. A discovery of chalk had briefly derailed the little one's focus on cooking and gardening. As the evening progressed, and daylight started its slow dim, I began cleaning up the toys of the children. A task I was mostly able to complete as the children had both gone to the far side of the yard, and were engrossed in the discovery of a second hose. This one without a nozzle. Attempts by the older one to stop the water were foiled by her younger sister's newfound knowledge of hose operations. Though, I suspect her attempts in this regard were half-hearted at best. But, I let them have their fun until I had finished tidying up the yard. Toys cleaned and secured in the detached garage. The captured bugs were freed, and their home pavement stones restored to their rightful places. The first hose coiled up and stored. Now it was time to wrangle the children. It was late, and they needed scrubbing. This is by no means an easy task. The children who have their mother's stubbornness, and my casual disregard for order. In short, my children are dicks. I love them, but objectively, they are dicks. I managed to secure the secondary hose. I got it coiled. And had even managed to herd the children toward the door. The 7-year-old, in a show of mercy, decided to listen and actually went inside. After only the 4th time asking. This left only my youngest, who I managed to get within 2 feet of the door before she broke off into a run. She circled behind me, and my pursuit was hindered by her clever use of some potted plants as a barrier. And then it happened. Without hesitation, she picked up the hose. There was only about 3 feet of it unwound. I found myself looking down the end of the nozzle. I realized my tactical error. I had neglected the spigot. The water was still on. She looked me dead in the eyes. A devious smile. I tried to hide my fear. "Don't you do," she let me have it. Full blast. Her delighted laughter flowing like the water. And she held it. No remorse. The only saving grace was my proximity to the spigot. I was able to turn off the water, managing to survive with only a half drenching instead of a full one. Too long did not read. I forgot to turn off the hose, and my 3-year-old, thinking quickly, made me realize consequences of that. Edit. Too long did not read. Veer 2.0. I forgot to turn off the hose before corralling my children into the house. Tiny human betrayed me, by using said hose to soak me. Without remorse. I love how well this was written. Dad, you will never win. The wee one gets ideas from uncles and aunts. She's got a future, that one. Nicely written, thumbs up. Nicely played, 3-year-old. Today I fucked up the threesome I never had. My girlfriend, 25, and I, 28 male, have a kink list. All the unusual things we do in the bedroom is on the list next to a number. We take turns once a month to pick a number from the list. This month it was my turn. I tapped on number 17. The downfall of many relationships. A threesome. 2 girls, 1 guy. Twice the fun for some. Double the disappointment for others. The other girl, 22, was someone my girlfriend found online. I'm gonna call her Zoe. She ticked all the boxes. Nothing but green flags. The 3 of us discussed the do's, the don'ts, and the date, which was yesterday, as per our agreement. What was supposed to be a straightforward threesome, if there is such a thing, turned into an episode of Riverdale. Zoe showed up at my flat early. My girlfriend was still on her way. Zoe apologized for being early and said she's never on time for anything. She's always too early or too late. No in between. I texted my girlfriend to inform her that our guest was at my flat. Zoe repeatedly rubbed the tip of her nose and asked if I had pets. I said I worked at an animal shelter and apologized for the smell. Zoe suddenly sneezed snot webs and said she was allergic to dogs. I said my plan was to go shower before she appeared on my doorstep. Zoe was unable to continue talking without sneezing uncontrollably. I asked if there was anything I could do. All she said was, shower shower go go go. When I got out of the shower, Zoe looked rough. Her hair was messy. Her eyes were watery. Her mascara was smudged. Her nose was red. She looked like someone who had an allergic reaction or got fucked in the face. She apologized and said she's going home. I understood and apologized for accidentally triggering her allergies. My girlfriend somehow synchronized her arrival with Zoe's departure. The 2 of them crossed paths in front of my flat. My girlfriend noticed me standing in the doorway wearing a towel and a disheveled Zoe doing what looked like a walk of shame. Even though Zoe truthfully explained the situation to my GF, her embarrassment kind of came across like she was hiding something. As soon as my girlfriend and I were alone, she made it clear to me that it was still cheating if I did anything with Zoe in her absence. I promised that nothing happened and apologized for even making her feel like something might have happened. My girlfriend asked if Zoe really was allergic to me. I said not technically to me, but yeah. My girlfriend said, "Good. So her body literally hated you, don't make my body hate you too." I got the message. Or warning. I think my girlfriend is 99% convinced nothing happened. But now she has that 1% in the back of her mind like, did he though? No more threesomes for me. No sir. No thank you. My girlfriend is enough. TLR, I wanted to have a threesome with my girlfriend and another girl. My girlfriend agreed. The other girl arrived early. Too early. My girlfriend was still on her way. The other girl was allergic to animals. I worked with animals. Cue allergic reaction. I showered while she sneezed repeatedly. She decided to go home. My girlfriend arrived at that moment and saw me in a towel and the other girl leaving my flat looking like a mess. It looked like we had sex. I got in trouble. I am very surprised she did not rob you blind while you showered. Sue, are you thinking the girlfriend will believe your story if you post it on Reddit? When my wife and I had a threesome with a stranger, we got a hotel room and went together. Maybe we were being overly paranoid, but we didn't want her to know where we lived, and also, it cut out the whole, not arriving at the same time, thing. 17 will be the end of your relationship. This is just weird to me. I just can't even put my head around asking my partner for a threesome. Today I fucked up by not being honest with my wife about our money. I, 21 male, haven't told my wife, 22 female. All the strings I pulled to make our wedding happen. We got married young, which I know some people are against, but I don't regret it. I plan on spending forever with my wife. The problem has been how we afforded to get married. I bought her engagement ring and my credit card and paid it off over a year when I was 19. When it came to wedding planning, my parents were willing to pay for half of the wedding and expenses and her parents were willing to take the other half. This was perfect as our wedding wouldn't have been able to happen otherwise. After my parents made the first payment, my mill got in an accident and it drained their money. Insurance still hasn't paid out years later, it's in lawsuit still. This put the other half of the wedding on me to pay for. I picked up extra job and was working any time I wasn't sleeping, but when you're young and inexperienced it's hard to get a good paying job. I ended up taking a loan to finish the last few thousand of the wedding, as if I didn't my parents would have lost all their money. No refund policy for venue and vendors. I didn't tell my wife this as to not stress her out, and I always meant to, but I never brought myself to do it. After we got married I wanted to spoil my wife with whatever she wanted to keep her happy. I was raised dirt poor, and remembering how miserable everyone in my family was, I didn't want that for her. While in college I went out and worked most nights and weekends instead of studying and bought wife a car, even though the payments are a decent bit of what I make. I forgot about my loan for the wedding until I got the bill for it, and now I'm not sure what to do. I'm working 3 jobs and I'm missing class constantly to go drive DoorDash and do any odd jobs I can find. I've recently realized I'm not going to pass this semester and need to retake. I don't know how to tell her we're already on debt. She works too, but again young and inexperienced, so our pay is little. I am searching for new jobs to try to make more, but I'm scared to tell her just how bad it is. Her car is going to be taken by the bank and I'm not sure what happens to loans when you miss this many payments. I wish I was open from the beginning and was more realistic in my spoiling of my wife, cause now I wouldn't be surprised if she leaves me. Too long did not read. I didn't tell my wife how much I work and how it's still not enough. Biting me in the butt now. Just tell her. It's no longer your problem but both of your problem. Taking debt to pay for wedding and for spoiling your wife was the fuck up. Tell her, it is never good when relationships contains lies, even by omission. She might understand, she might not, but you can be sure the pill will be more hard to swallow if given by a debt collector. P.S. Good luck. Hide nothing, be open with the wife. Call your creditors and make payment adjustments. Get rid of the car you can't afford. Learn from this. It's not the end of the world, but it's no way to live. Live within your means, it's a big life lesson. Stop buying things, talk to her and make a plan. There's lots of advice for these things online. Pay for the things that give you the most utility first.